Thank you very much, Betsy. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for taking 1871 to where it is today. Really, it's here in no small part because of your leadership. I want to acknowledge, of course, our founding CEO of 1871, and that's Kevin Willer. Please stand up so everybody can see her here. And the second in line, you never like to hear that about yourself, right, Howard? But Howard Tullman, who was an amazing leader. I'm very proud of the leadership at 1871, all the people who have worked here, who have made it successful. Some of the people who were in the original founding team at 1871 actually now work for me in the government of the state of Illinois, which is great, I think, for all of you, because these are terrific people who care deeply about building our tech economy and our infrastructure for technology in the state, and of course, our ecosystem. So, you know, when it's said that 1871 started out as an idea on a napkin, it's true. It really was an idea on a napkin. I wish I had saved the napkin. But I didn't. I didn't think that it would be, something I'd want to save. But it was a simple drawing that I made. But the simplicity of it, I think, has led to the complexity of the success. When we flung the doors open on a lot of square footage, we knew that if this ship went down, our reputations, all of us who worked on it, were at stake, and that our reputations would fall with it. But like every good entrepreneur, right, we were willing to take the risk because we thought it was important and we thought it would be successful. Everyone who's ever been lucky enough to try and grow an idea into something bigger, so everybody in this room and outside this room knows just how nerve-wracking the process of building something new can be, and your hopes for its future. 1871 burst into an overnight success, and it was really thanks to many of the people who are here and many of those who came before you. And here's the thing that a lot of people today forget. Most of the ingredients that have made Illinois successful and Chicago successful as a tech startup hub existed before we founded 1871. I used to go brag around the country about how many resources we had in Chicago for this to be a tech startup hub, again, before 1871. We had the entrepreneurial talent. We do. We have the business schools. And in fact, we're the fourth largest producer of business degrees in the nation. We have the engineering talent. We have the computer science programs. We have our national laboratories and a half a dozen of the greatest universities in the world, not to mention our other universities, which may not get ranked as high as some of our great universities, but produce terrific talent. And VC and angel investors were starting to come to Chicago and take a look at what we were doing. Our universities were pumping out all this incredible talent, but waving goodbye as graduates were shipping themselves off to California. And the technology coming out of our labs was being commercialized, but it was being commercialized out of state. And there wasn't a space for the capital to converge with the talent and the ideas until there was. What really set 1871 apart, the thing that made it more than just a place that people work, was and remains the energy and the drive and the enthusiasm of the entrepreneurs themselves. There were folks who, we had sort of a soft opening of 1871 before we had a hard opening of it. We invited entrepreneurs to come, a few. It wasn't full. It was actually a fairly small cadre. We invited them to come here kind of to test everything out, see how it worked and what we needed to change, and kind of be the guinea pigs for the endeavor. And what we found, just even with that small group, there was a spark. There was all kinds of energy, excitement about working together, and it just worked. It worked. Anyone who walks around this space will witness a culture today that we saw the very beginnings of back then, of collaboration and shared ideas, and especially among people building entirely different businesses. You know, the questions that you hear in the hallway, people to people, are, you know, hey, how did you do that? I need to figure that out. How do you know, who do you know who can help me architect a function that I need to develop for my company, for my software? How do I find people who can help me build a prototype? These are just some of the questions that are passed back and forth, answers passed back and forth between entrepreneurs in the hallways of 1871. And that's the culture that earned it the title of the #1 private business incubator in the world, and why we're all here celebrating it today. Great leadership, great environment, no question about it, but it's the entrepreneurs. It's the entrepreneurs working with other entrepreneurs, willing to share ideas with one another. That's what really makes a difference. So today, 1871's greatest influence is really now outside the walls here. 1871 has become more than just a place. It's a brand. Prior to its existence, people were asking, what is 1871 really going to be? Well, now people come to this city from all over the world and say, I want an 1871 where I live. They say, how do I build an 1871? Who do I talk to? Who can help me architect this for my city? And this space has ignited a startup revolution on college campuses and in cities and towns across Illinois. Tech remains Chicago's fastest growing industry. Think about that. I mean, for those of us who've been around for a few years, I'm pointing at Howard, because I'm just as old as he is. I just don't look as old as he does. No, but we have seen that tech wasn't a big industry once upon a time. It certainly wasn't. Nobody considered it something that you'd invite into the commercial club of Chicago, or to any of the clubs. It wasn't something anybody recognized. And yet, because it's the fastest growing industry, we now employ 143,000 people working in 4,000 digital companies. Last year alone, nearly $2 billion was invested in Illinois-based companies. I mean, it is growing fast. And we have an entire ecosystem of opportunities for people to find great customers and partners, because Illinois is the home to 30 of the Fortune 500 companies. And tech giants like Google and Facebook and Uber and Salesforce have all expanded their Chicago offices in recent years. In fact, Chicago leads the nation in corporate relocations. Everyone now wants to come to Chicago. And its startups turn out to be part of the reason that people now want to move to Chicago. And if startups, for any of you in the audience, turn out not to be the right thing for you, you can build a career and you can grow from an associate at one place to a director, a managing director, a partner, a vice president, a CTO, all without leaving this incredible city and state. And it's a testament to what 1871 has done, attracted a whole bunch of people into this industry who stay in the industry, whether they're in startups or in larger companies. Betsy mentioned that this hub, this great place here, brought home 2 awards. And I want to highlight the award that doesn't get talked about as much. And that's the most promising for women founders. That's in no small part thanks to Betsy and to Chicago's other women leaders who have held open for the next generation the doors that they had to burst through. And it's a trend that can be traced to 1871's earliest days, because even then, women in Chicago were founding businesses at not 2 times the rate of the rest of the country, but 3 times the rate of Silicon Valley. I mean, that's saying a lot, that in Chicago, we even started out that way. That's in our DNA. To keep building on that success, we all need to make sure that we build teams that actually reflect the people that we serve, whether you're an entrepreneur or, frankly, governor. because the diverse teams that we build bring stronger ideas. They're more durable plans and a broader view for potential impact. We know that here in Illinois, this is important. And I'm particularly proud that in Chicago and in Illinois, we continue to hold the rest of the tech world to a higher standard, while we still hold ourselves accountable, of course, for greater equity and inclusion in our own spaces. But as your governor, I'm really proud to promote policies that place Illinois among the most forward-thinking and innovative states in the nation. One of the reasons we're able to attract so many great businesses to Illinois now is because they know that we stand for diversity, and that matters to many companies. From a small business loan fund, these are things that I got done in state government, from a small business loan fund for minority-owned ventures to tax credits for entrepreneurship and R&D, to a statewide broadband initiative that's going to bring high-speed broadband to every corner of our state, to the most equity-centric cannabis legalization law in the nation. We're moving our state in the right direction. And I'm particularly proud of the $100 million investment that our state has made in the Chicago Quantum Exchange, setting Illinois up for a wave of startup activity in technology's next frontier. This, by the way, is going to be the race that is going to be heard and competed in around the world. The race for quantum computing. Who's going to lead? What nations are going to be among those leaders? By the way, it's a very competitive race, and we're not yet doing enough. But here in Illinois, we're trying to make Illinois the center, the hub for the United States, because we have to win. We have to win. If we're going to be the leader in the world, and we have to win, and Illinois should be at the forefront of it. So once again, I want to congratulate Betsy and the board and all of you who made this moment possible. I want to say how proud I am to see what you've done. I can't take credit for the success that you're having today, but I can with some pride, like maybe a proud parent, when you set your kids off. I haven't quite done that yet. I've got two at home. But when you set your kids off, what you hope is that they can fly on their own. They can succeed on their own, and that they'll go places that you never imagined that are great for them. And that's what's happened to 1871. So thank you for giving me pride, and thank you for all the success that you're bringing to our state.